Welcome to the Dopply English Podcast. Hey there, English learners. Welcome back to your favorite cozy corner for mastering English through relaxed, natural, and everyday conversations. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake. So let's kick things off with a quick question. Have you ever set a massive, life-altering goal, felt incredibly pumped about it for maybe 2 or 3 days, and then just silently let it drop? Because I definitely have. I once bought a gorgeous new journal and mapped out a meticulous 5-year life strategy. Beautiful handwriting, premium pen, the whole deal.
And what happened to the grand plan?
I'm pretty sure I completely abandoned ship by page 2.
Only page 2?
Well, page 2.5 if I'm trying to be generous to myself.
Wow, that is incredibly generous of you.
Thank you. I'm still processing the trauma. But honestly, if that scenario sounds all too familiar, you have tuned into the perfect episode today. We are diving deep into the power of small goals. Not the kind that look flashy on a vision board, but the practical kind that actually survive the chaos of real life.
Absolutely. And before we jump into the thick of it, if our conversations help you practice your English in a calm, stress-free way, please drop a like on this video and hit that subscribe button for the Dopply English Podcast. Your support genuinely keeps us inspired to create more of these episodes for you.
We also have a tiny challenge for everyone listening today. Go ahead and write just one small goal in the comment section below. Keep it incredibly simple. For instance, I will learn one new English phrase today, or I will practice speaking English out loud for 2 minutes. Keep the bar low, okay? Please do not type, I am going to completely reinvent my entire existence by Monday morning. Don't put that kind of pressure on yourself. Just pick one tiny, doable objective for this week. We can't wait to read them.
Just a quick heads up. Today's discussion is aimed at a B2, upper intermediate level. The phrasing is natural and holds a bit more detail, but we've kept the delivery crystal clear and easy to follow. So even if you run into a few unfamiliar words, just hang in there with us.
Plus, later in the show, we'll be hosting our special word tour where we dissect some advanced vocabulary to help you talk about goals and progress with total confidence. These are highly practical terms if you want your English to sound more authentic. But first, let's get into our main chat.
I want to start with a perspective that I think is fundamentally overlooked. The vast majority of people don't stumble because they lack discipline or are inherently lazy. No, they fall short because their goals are simply too massive to fit into the actual lives they lead.
Wow, that statement hits incredibly close to home.
Right? So let's break down the mechanics behind it. Why exactly do these monumental goals crash and burn so frequently?
Because people rarely sit down to design huge goals when they are completely exhausted or stressed out. They orchestrate them during moments when they feel absolutely phenomenal.
Exactly. You've had a fantastic weekend, you're fully rested, you just watched a deeply moving documentary, and suddenly you're convinced you can conquer the world. You think, starting tomorrow, I'll wake up at 5 a.m., jog 5 kilometers, read 20 pages of literature, master a new language, and cook gourmet healthy meals every single day.
And naturally, you document every single bit of that fantasy on page 1 of your pristine new notebook. Page 1 is always absolute perfection. It's overflowing with pure ambition, boundless optimism, and immaculate penmanship. But the fatal flaw is that you designed that blueprint as your peak, hyper-motivated self. And that version of you is a complete stranger to your exhausted, rainy Tuesday evening self.
Jake, that is an incredibly profound truth. Saturday morning Jake and Tuesday night Jake don't even know each other. Tuesday night Jake has just dragged himself home from a brutal shift at work. He's drained, overwhelmed, hasn't had a proper meal, and suddenly the flawless plan from Saturday feels entirely unachievable.
Exactly. And it's not that I've suddenly stopped caring about those dreams. I still want them just as much. It's just that the strategy was built for a flawless, ideal lifestyle, and real life is inherently messy.
Precisely. Real life comes packed with terrible sleep, sudden deadlines, family obligations, low moods, and days where you literally don't have an ounce of energy to give. A goal that only functions perfectly on your absolute best days isn't a strategy, it's just a wish.
I think another massive trap is attempting to overhaul everything simultaneously. Like, if I decide I'm going to radically transform my mornings, my nights, my nutrition, and my entire social circle all at once, I might sustain it for 3 days. But the moment one bad day hits, the entire house of cards collapses.
Yes, because when all your habits are tightly interconnected and one link breaks, it creates a domino effect where it feels like you failed across the board. That leaves you feeling more demoralized than when you started, making it even harder to muster up the courage to try again.
Which is precisely why small goals are a necessity. Not because you don't deserve grand achievements, but because minor objectives are the only ones built to withstand the friction of reality.
Beautifully put, Jake. Scaling down a goal doesn't mean your vision is minor, it just means your everyday life can actually carry the weight of it.
The shift to consistency and self-trust. That brings us to a really vital point, Anna. When we advocate for small goals, what are we actually referencing? Because I know a lot of people feel a sense of inadequacy or embarrassment when they think about setting a tiny goal. They worry it means they aren't capable of more.
That is such a critical psychological barrier. We live in a culture obsessed with the idea that if a goal isn't dramatic, sweeping, and highly impressive, it somehow doesn't register as valid. I used to fall into that trap constantly. Telling yourself, I'm going to read exactly 1 page of a book before turning off the lights sounds almost too trivial to say out loud.
I completely get that. But the core truth is that a small goal isn't a sign of weakness. A small goal is simply a manageable goal. It's scaled down so that you can navigate it seamlessly, even when your day goes completely off the rails.
Exactly. A manageable goal doesn't demand perfection from you. It simply asks you to show up and do the bare minimum, even when conditions are far from ideal. And maintaining that level of consistency is actually incredibly demanding. So manageable doesn't equate to easy, it equates to being grounded in reality.
That's a massive distinction. Committing to read just 1 single page every single night for an entire month is significantly harder than it sounds. Why? Because you have to execute it on the nights you are utterly spent, the nights when you'd infinitely rather mindlessly scroll through your phone or just pass out, which, let's be honest, is practically every night.
Jake, you are speaking universal truths right now.
Hey, I call it like I see it.
Fair enough. Another beautiful aspect of small goals is that they are highly sustainable. They possess longevity. They don't drain your battery to zero after just 1 week of intense effort.
Meaning they are built to last over the long haul.
Yes, they are designed for survival. A massive, dramatic burst of energy might yield cool results for a hot minute, but if it leaves you completely burned out or requires an unrealistic amount of willpower, it's going to vanish. A tiny habit repeated daily for 6 months will absolutely demolish a massive resolution that was abandoned after 7 days, every single time.
So the scale of the action matters infinitely less than your ability to keep the chain unbroken.
Way less. People feel self-conscious about micro-habits because social media is saturated with extreme transformations and overnight success stories. Nobody opens up their feeds to post a caption saying, "Hey guys, just wanted to share that I opened my language app for exactly 5 minutes right before bed every night for the last 90 days.
Right, because that doesn't get the clicks. You want the dramatic before and after photo, the cinematic music, and the deeply emotional transformation narrative.
Spot on. But the irony is that those quiet, unglamorous 5-minute increments are precisely what paved the way to that dramatic transformation in the first place.
That's incredibly reassuring to hear. It means the modest effort I'm capable of putting in today isn't a waste of time.
It's not pointless at all. It might seem microscopic, but it is tangible, undeniable proof that you are actively moving forward.
Now, this next segment is fascinating to me because it explores how the act of keeping or breaking a promise fundamentally alters your internal psychology.
Yes, and this is a conversation we don't emphasize nearly enough. Every single time you make a pact with yourself and fail to follow through, you inflict a tiny bit of damage on your self-trust.
Self-trust. So your internal reliability?
Precisely. It's the deep-seated belief that when you state you are going to perform an action, you will actually execute it. Self-trust is the quiet foundation of confidence. If you have a history of breaking countless promises to yourself, you subconsciously begin to doubt your own capabilities before you even take the first step.
That is a bit uncomfortable to reflect on, but it is undeniably accurate.
And it's absolutely not about beating yourself up, Jake. Life throws curveballs, goals are inherently difficult, and literally everyone has experienced the cycle. The incredible news is that self-trust can be systematically rebuilt, and micro goals are the absolute gold standard for doing so.
How so?
Because you make a promise so small that failure is nearly impossible, and you keep it. Then you repeat it the next day and the day after that. With every tiny victory, you are providing your brain with concrete, undeniable psychological evidence that you are a person who follows through on their word.
So the actual task itself is almost irrelevant. The real objective is just proving to yourself that your word holds weight.
Exactly. Even if that task is merely opening up an English learning app for 5 minutes.
Or even just speaking one single English sentence out loud when you're feeling nervous. You still did exactly what you set out to do.
And you can genuinely feel that shift. When you execute a minor task consistently, a quiet sense of identity begins to form. Oh, I am actually someone who does this. That feeling compounds.
And it shifts from being a chore to becoming an intrinsic part of who you are. It transitions from rigid discipline to identity.
Yes, and that mental pivot changes everything. You stop thinking, I need to drag myself to do this thing, and start thinking, This is simply a natural part of my daily routine.
That sounds like an incredibly peaceful way to live, honestly. The habit ceases to feel like a self-imposed punishment and just blends into your life.
Exactly, Jake. And that is precisely where genuine, lasting transformation takes root, not through loud, chaotic shifts, but through steady, quiet consistency.
Let's transition to a concept that I find deeply satisfying: momentum.
Oh, I absolutely love discussing momentum.
It's that exact sensation where you've cleared the initial hurdle of starting, and suddenly it takes less effort to keep going than it does to stop. Have you experienced that recently?
Oh, entirely. You sit down with the intention of completing one tiny errand, and before you know it, you've been completely locked into the zone for an hour.
Right, because initiating the action is almost always the highest point of friction. Once you are in motion, physics takes over and it gets significantly easier. This is why small goals are the ultimate hack for generating momentum. They reduce the barrier to entry to almost zero. If your entire goal is just to step outside for a 5-minute walk, it requires so little willpower that your brain can't find a valid excuse to say no.
And what inevitably happens once those 5 minutes are up? You usually just keep walking. Why? Because you've already put your shoes on. You're already outside. You're moving and the friction has evaporated.
I do that constantly. I'll tell myself I'm just going to walk to the corner of the street, and next thing I know, I've completed a 20-minute loop because it felt great once I got moving.
The exact same principle applies to your English studies. You open up your study materials telling yourself you'll just do 5 minutes, and 15 minutes later, you're still reading because you're riding that wave of momentum.
So the goal was never actually about the 5 minutes. The 5-minute rule is just a benevolent, highly strategic psychological trick to get yourself off the couch.
A very kind and highly effective trick.
I feel like I've been productively manipulating my own brain for years without even realizing it.
Hey, that is a top-tier life skill, Jake.
Thank you, thank you. It's nice to finally have my unique talents recognized.
We are incredibly proud of you. But the vital takeaway here is that we aren't obsessing over massive, long-term outcomes in the beginning. Right now, the focus is purely on kinetic movement, just getting the wheels spinning.
Exactly. Momentum is entirely about making the leap from 0 to 1, because 0 is incredibly heavy. 0 possesses massive resistance. But once you establish a baseline at 1, progressing to 2 feels entirely natural.
Think of it like a boulder perched at the summit of a hill. It requires an initial deliberate shove to break static friction, but once it starts rolling, it gains a life of its own. Small goals supply that crucial initial shove. And honestly, relying on that strategy is infinitely kinder than waiting around for some magical, unpredictable wave of intense motivation.
Way kinder. Motivation is notoriously unreliable. It ebbs and flows. But a micro-action is a conscious choice you can easily make, even on days when your motivation is completely absent.
We've covered momentum and breaking the ice. Now, let's look at the broader picture. What actually happens over the span of weeks and months when you consistently show up for those micro-actions?
This is where we talk about the long game, right?
This is the ultimate long game, and it's where the mathematics of small goals get truly breathtaking. Tiny, consistent efforts don't just add up linearly, they compound.
Compound? Like compound interest in banking, where your wealth grows exponentially on top of itself?
Precisely like that. In finance, compounding means you earn returns on your initial principal, and then you earn returns on those returns, causing the growth curve to skyrocket. The exact same law governs skills, habits, and personal growth.
So it's not a basic equation of 1 + 1 = 2. It's more like every individual step amplifies the potential of the next step.
Exactly. If you commit to mastering just one practical English phrase every single day, after a month, you have 30 phrases. But those 30 phrases don't just sit there in isolation. They actively make it easier to acquire the next 30, because your brain now has context, structural familiarity, and heightened confidence. The progression is incremental, but the trajectory is distinctly exponential.
Incremental. That is an exceptional vocabulary word, Anna. Let's unpack that a bit for our listeners.
Yeah, incremental denotes something that unfolds through small, gradual stages over a period of time, rather than manifesting all at once. For example, stashing away $5 a day feels utterly insignificant on day 1, but over a year, that accumulates to nearly $2,000. By year 2, you're looking at almost $4,000, and that's completely factoring out any actual financial interest.
Yet, when you're staring at a single $5 bill on a random Tuesday, it feels far too insignificant to matter.
And that is the paradox of incremental progress. It is entirely invisible in the present moment. You can't feel the needle moving on any given afternoon. You only perceive the magnitude of the shift when you look back over a 3-month horizon and realize just how profoundly your baseline has shifted.
It's identical to the process of growing out your hair. You can stare in the mirror all day and you won't see it getting longer millimeter by millimeter. But 6 months down the line, you look at yourself and think, wow,
okay, things have definitely changed here.
And this law is absolute across every domain, whether it's English fluency, physical health, self-esteem, financial stability, or relationship depth. Small, unwavering actions sustained over time culminate in results that your day one self literally could not have conceptualized.
Which is precisely why the vast majority of people throw in the towel prematurely. They make the mistake of comparing their day 3 of effort to someone else's year 3 of compounding.
Yes, they abort the mission right before the compounding curve starts to turn upward, because compounding demands patience. The most explosive growth is always backloaded. Therefore, the absolute best day to initiate a micro goal is today, because every day you hesitate is a day of compounding potential that you can never claw back.
That is simultaneously deeply motivating and slightly terrifying.
Welcome to the paradox of personal growth, Jake.
Thanks, Anna. I feel incredibly inspired and subtly called out all at the same time.
Honestly, that is exactly what real growth feels like.
Let's pivot to the practical execution. How do you actually design a small goal that you won't discard? Because this is where so many well-intentioned people trip up. They start with a small objective and then immediately bloat the scope of it.
Jake, are you speaking from personal experience again?
I am absolutely exposing myself here. I will tell myself, okay, I'm just going to go for a casual 5-minute jog. And within a week, I have somehow entered my credit card information to register for a competitive 10K marathon.
Why are you wired this way? I genuinely want to know.
It's a mystery to science, Anna. I don't know.
Well, the golden rule is to make the objective incredibly explicit. Avoid vague declarations like, I'm going to get in shape, or I will study more. Those lack structure. Instead, anchor it. I will walk for precisely 10 minutes immediately following dinner on weeknights. Now you know exactly what the action is, precisely when it triggers, and exactly how long it takes.
Right. It needs to be so concrete that you cannot rationally negotiate with yourself about whether or not you completed it. There's no gray area. You either completed the 10 minutes or you didn't.
Exactly. Furthermore, the goal must be calibrated for your absolute worst day, not your best day. It needs to be achievable on a chaotic Tuesday when you're completely drained, stressed, and everything seems to be going wrong. Because if your habit loop requires pristine, stress-free conditions to function, it will never solidify into an actual routine. The bar needs to be low enough that even when you're exhausted, you can look at it and say, okay, I can manage this tiny task.
Which is precisely why read one single page before sleeping is infinitely superior to read 30 pages every night. Even when my eyes are heavy and I'm totally spent, 1 page is always doable.
Next step, weave it into the fabric of your existing life. If you already have a daily commute, that's a built-in 15-minute window where you can listen to an English podcast. If you brew coffee every morning, that's a 5-minute block where you can review a vocabulary phrase. You aren't trying to carve out brand new time slots in your day. You are simply folding the new habit into anchors that are already there.
And keep your tracking incredibly minimalist. You don't need an over-engineered app or a complex spreadsheet. A simple check mark on a physical wall calendar or a notebook is plenty. Just a visual confirmation that the streak is alive.
See, your beautiful journal is finally fulfilling its true destiny.
It's a true redemption arc, Anna. The notebook finally gets its moment in the spotlight.
And don't forget to celebrate those quiet victories. You don't need a massive celebration, just a brief moment of internal recognition. Hey, I set a promise to myself and I delivered. That internal feedback loop is powerful.
And perhaps the most crucial piece of advice, do not reset your progress back to 0 just because you missed a single day. Slipping up for 1 day is not a structural failure. A missed day is just an isolated incident. The framework is still intact, the habit memory is still mostly there. Just pick up right where you left off the following day, quietly and without any internal drama.
Yes, the moment you tell yourself, well, I broke the streak yesterday, so the whole experiment is ruined, you are merely handing your brain a convenient excuse to quit entirely. That mental surrender is the actual failure, not the missed day itself.
A missed day is just a temporary pause in the grand scheme of things. It happens to literally everyone, and it doesn't erase the entire foundation you've poured weeks into building. It's exactly like tripping on a sidewalk while walking. You don't just lay there and give up on walking forever. You catch your balance, dust yourself off, and keep moving forward. And over a long enough timeline, these micro goals cease to require active effort. They gracefully transition into your automated routine, weaving themselves into your core identity. And that is the exact inflection point where profound change occurs, all sparked by an action so incredibly small you were initially self-conscious to even voice it out loud.
Which is the ultimate proof that small goals are anything but weak. They are sustainable, resilient, and they get the job done.
Even for people who write 2 pages of a grand plan and then completely abandon the notebook?
Especially for those people, Anna.
Good to know. I feel seen.
Now that we've thoroughly analyzed the mechanics of why micro-actions are so potent, let's downshift a bit and explore some of the advanced vocabulary we utilize throughout today's conversation. Mastering these terms will dramatically elevate how you discuss goals, habits, and personal evolution in English. Let's initiate today's word tour.
Let's kick things off with the word manageable. This is an incredibly versatile adjective when discussing personal metrics and objectives.
Yes, manageable indicates that something is not overwhelmingly difficult to handle. It feels entirely within the realm of possibility. Let's pronounce it slowly together. Manageable. Manageable. A classic highly natural sentence structure is make the goal manageable. That translates to scaling the objective down so that it remains fully within your current capacity to execute.
Exactly. When an objective is scaled too high, it triggers a brief wave of excitement, followed rapidly by a massive sense of overwhelm. So instead of declaring, I will study English for 3 hours every day, you can pivot and say, I will study for 10 minutes. That feels manageable.
Perfect. You can also comfortably utilize the phrase, this feels manageable. For example, 10 minutes of daily practice feels completely manageable. It sounds incredibly fluent.
Now, what about the polar opposite?
The direct antonym is unmanageable. If a workload or scenario escalates beyond your capacity to control or handle, you would state, this feels unmanageable. For instance, attempting to memorize 50 complex vocabulary words in a single evening feels completely unmanageable, because realistically, it is. Your brain would simply shut down.
Oh, entirely. Let's see how this functions within a brief natural dialogue. Are you still trying to study for 2 hours every night? No, I changed it to 15 minutes. It feels more manageable now.
Spot on. So instead of using basic phrasing like this goal is easier, upgrade your vocabulary to this goal is more manageable. And instead of saying this is too hard to cope with, opt for this feels unmanageable.
Moving on, our next featured word is sustainable. This term is absolutely core to the philosophy of microgoals because an effective habit shouldn't just function for a single afternoon. It needs to function over a lifetime. Sustainable means that an action or process can be maintained continuously over a long duration without collapse. Pronounce it slowly with us. Sustainable. Sustainable. A great baseline sentence is, small goals are inherently more sustainable.
In essence, if a routine is sustainable, it implies you can execute it consistently without draining your battery or burning out. A massive, over-ambitious goal looks great on paper, but if you abandon it after 5 days, it is fundamentally unsustainable, like trying to wake up at 5 a.m. to run, journal, cook, learn Spanish, and learn English all before breakfast. Anna, just listing that out exhausts me.
It sounds like a total nightmare, honestly. A sustainable goal respects your actual energy levels, your limited time, and your real-world constraints. Therefore, you can confidently state, allocating 10 minutes to English practice every day is entirely sustainable.
Yes, that sounds incredibly natural. Can I also say this current routine is sustainable?
Absolutely. That communicates that you can preserve that exact routine over a very long timeline. Let's look at a practical conversational example. Are you still doing that 2-hour workout every morning? No, it was too much. Now I walk for 15 minutes. It is more sustainable.
Beautiful. So instead of saying, I can keep doing this for a long time, use the word, this is sustainable. And instead of saying, this lifestyle plan is just too overwhelming, swap it out for, this plan is not sustainable.
Our third word is self-trust. This one ventures a bit deeper into psychology.
It really does. Self-trust is the internal conviction that you can fundamentally rely on yourself to do what you say you will do. Let's articulate it slowly together. Self-trust. Self-trust.
So when we mention that small goals build self-trust, we are saying that achieving tiny victories systematically restores your belief in your own reliability. It's not a loud, boastful confidence. It's a quiet, unshakable internal certainty built on a foundation of consistent evidence. You are proving to your subconscious, I made a commitment and I executed it. That is a completely different mental state than raw motivation. Motivation is a fleeting emotion. Self-trust is an accumulation of objective proof.
Beautifully articulated, Anna. Look at that. Page 2 Jake is showing some real philosophical growth here.
We absolutely love to see it. A great, highly natural sentence to use is, I am actively rebuilding my self-trust. This is an incredibly authentic thing to say if you have a track record of setting massive goals and abandoning them in the past. You can also state, honoring small promises is the key to building self-trust.
Let's demonstrate how to use it in context. Why did you choose such a small goal? Because I want to rebuild my self-trust. I want to prove to myself that I can keep going.
Powerful and deeply authentic. So instead of saying, I want to believe in my capabilities again, say, I want to rebuild my self-trust. And instead of saying, keeping tiny promises helps my confidence, upgrade it to, small promises build self-trust.
Our fourth keyword is momentum. This is one of my absolute favorites because it beautifully illustrates the physics of why starting small works so flawlessly. Momentum refers to the kinetic energy or driving force that keeps an object or process moving forward once it has been initiated. Pronounce it slowly with us. Momentum. Momentum. A highly authentic sentence is, small actions serve to generate momentum.
So momentum isn't about staring at the finish line. It's entirely about breaking static inertia and keeping the chain of movement alive. Think of a heavy wheel. It requires a concentrated effort to get it to turn the very first time, but once it's spinning, its own weight helps it keep rotating. Like when you tell yourself, I'm just gonna tidy up for 5 minutes, and somehow you end up organizing the entire closet.
Oh, entirely. The classic accidental productivity trap. It's the absolute best. You can naturally say, I really need to build some momentum here. That means you need to kickstart your day with a very small, achievable task just to get your brain moving. You can also say, once I initiated the task, I rapidly gained momentum. For example, I opened my English learning material for just 5 minutes, but then I gained momentum and pushed through for a solid 20 minutes. Now, can I use it in the negative, like the momentum is completely gone?
Absolutely. If you break your routine for an extended period, you can say, I completely lost momentum. For instance, I skipped my practice for a few weeks and completely lost my momentum. Let's observe it in a brief dialogue. I did not feel like studying, so I started with one short exercise.
And then?
Then I gained momentum and kept going.
Perfect. So instead of using the basic phrasing, I started a task and kept going, say I gained momentum. And instead of saying I stopped working and lost my rhythm, express it as I lost momentum.
Our fifth word is compound. This is the definitive term for describing how minor inputs escalate into massive outputs over time. To compound means to multiply or grow exponentially because successive increments continuously build upon the previous foundation. Let's say it slowly together. Compound. Compound.
So when we observe that small habits compound, we mean that their collective impact becomes exponentially more powerful over a long timeline. An isolated action might seem completely trivial today, but when repeated consistently, the results compound dramatically. Learning a single English phrase today feels like a drop in the bucket, but over a year, that accumulates into a massive, highly functional vocabulary.
Exactly. And those phrases don't just exist in a vacuum. They interact with each other. They unlock context, enhance your listening comprehension, and turbocharge your speaking confidence. The growth isn't just basic addition. It is an integrated compounding effect. A highly natural sentence structure is small daily habits compound over time. You can also state minor efforts compound, or your confidence will compound through steady daily practice.
Let's look at a quick conversational application. Do you really think 5 minutes of English can help? Yes, 5 minutes looks small, but small efforts compound over time.
That sounds incredibly sophisticated and fluent. So instead of saying small things eventually add up to something big later on, say small actions compound over time. And instead of saying my confidence slowly built up over the months, refine it to my confidence compounded through daily practice.
And that brings us to our final vocabulary word of the day, incremental. This is an exceptional B2 level adjective to describe progress. Incremental means occurring in a series of small, distinct stages or steps over time, rather than happening all at once or overnight. Articulate it slowly with us. Incremental. Incremental. A standard, highly authentic collocation is incremental progress.
This describes progress that is subtle, steady, and gradual, not a sudden dramatic breakthrough, but a series of small, steady improvements that eventually add up to a massive shift. Achieving fluency in English is almost always an incremental process. You don't just wake up one random morning and suddenly possess total fluency. You get there through tiny, repeated daily increments of practice.
Which, as we established earlier, is both deeply comforting and slightly frustrating.
Why do you find it frustrating, Jake?
Because I am still holding out hope for the Matrix-style download where I instantly wake up fluent.
Don't we all, Jake? Don't we all? You can use the word like this. The structural changes were entirely incremental. That means the evolution happened slowly and steadily, not in one giant leap. You can also comfortably state, I am making steady incremental progress in my studies.
Can we also utilize the adverbial form incrementally?
Absolutely. You can say, my speaking skills improved incrementally, meaning they advanced step by step, little by little. Let's check out our final dialogue for the day. Do you feel your English is improving?
Yes, but incrementally. I notice small changes every week. Incredible. So instead of saying, I am improving very slowly, elevate your phrasing to, I am making steady incremental progress. And instead of saying, the transformation unfolded step by step, say, the change occurred incrementally.
To recap, our 6 vocabulary upgrades for today are manageable, sustainable, self-trust, momentum, compound, and incremental.
Brilliant. These terms are absolutely flawless for discussing goals, habit formations, personal trajectories, and genuine lifestyle changes. And at the end of the day, they all point back to the exact same fundamental truth. You do not have to completely revolutionize your entire existence in a single day. You simply need to make one micro-promise to yourself that you can successfully honor today.
And that brings us to the grand finale of today's episode. Always remember, small goals are not a sign of weakness or low ambition. They are the only goals engineered to survive the unpredictable friction of real life. So for this upcoming week, pick just one micro goal that you can easily sustain, whether it's learning one single phrase, tuning into 5 minutes of an audio track, or speaking one sentence out loud to yourself. Let us know down in the comments, what is the one small goal you are going to commit to this week?
If this episode brought some value to your language journey, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment letting us know if you enjoyed this upgraded word tour format. Take excellent care of your English.
And remember to take gentle care of your heart too. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jake. You've been listening to the Dopply English Podcast. Catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.